What's going on? What's going on? I heard a topic or somebody touch on something. My man Booster Rails had touched on something that kind of like that personally I kind of felt what he was saying when he addressed this topic. Recently he just did like a little video where he was talking about he was going bike shopping, and I have been doing a little bit of bike shopping, not super serious, but I have been doing some bike shopping as well, and I'm at the point to where I only deal with one dealership in my area, and it's not even in my city, right? It's not here in San Antonio, it's not in Austin, you know what I'm saying? It's in New Braunfels, and the name of the dealership is Wood Cycle Country. They do an amazing job, but I kind of wanted to touch on what he was talking about and go into more detail on my personal experience with vehicle shopping or bike shopping in general, and kind of give you my take on it. I won't say all of my motorcycles, not all of my experience has been this way, but when I came to San Antonio, I instantly had just bad interactions with dealerships. For example, and I'm gonna say names because I don't care. Like, really nobody knows me, and I'm gonna tag them actually on some of these clips because I think that they need to know about it so they can change their business practices, maybe, or they could just not give a. But I would say that the first vehicle that I bought here in San Antonio, when I went and bought my Ryker, Can-Am Ryker, I looked around. I went to Kent Motorsports here in San Antonio, probably like the biggest, one of the biggest ones here in San Antonio. I went to Alamo Cycleplex. They have since then been renamed. They've been renamed since then. Just recently they renamed. I forgot what their name is now, but everybody here in town knows them as Alamo Cycleplex. And my experience was extremely bad. Let me tell you how I buy vehicles. I buy vehicles basically like if I go on the internet and I'm looking for what I want, I see it, I contact the dealership, and just to see if they have that. When I was looking for my Ryker, I contacted Alamo Cycleplex. Very nice over the phone, whatnot. And they contacted me about my interest in one. They asked me like, what was I looking for? What my, kind of like what my situation was, whatnot. And I just simply said, hey, I like the vehicle. Do y'all have any in stock that I can come see in person? Is it there? Is it built? Whatnot. And I said, yeah, you can come. Excuse me, I'm sick. So if I sound a little hoarse, losing my voice is cracking. Yeah, I'm not feeling well. But so for example, I went up there and it seemed like everything was fine on the phone. I got there and I just kind of remember one of the guys, I think it was a guy that came out, I forgot what his name was, but he wasn't even there like 2 days later. I just remember they asked me, I told him who I was there to see, I told him my name and everything, and when he came out, he was kind of just like, oh, hey, like, nice to meet you or whatnot. And I just told him, hey, do you have the trike here, or whatever you want to call it, the bike trike? He said, yeah, we got it here, and it's actually out front and whatnot. So I was like, okay, cool. I sat on it, whatnot, and everything, and he was just kind of like, so, do you have a job, or, like, and that kind of threw me off. Like, I was like, wait, what? Nobody's going to come to a dealership and ask for a vehicle and they ain't got a job. I don't know how you expect to get the vehicle. I'm like, I've worked, but, I thought that was a weird question. I was like, why would you ask that? And he was just like, oh, well, I just don't, want to waste time. And I don't want to waste your time. So, I was just asking questions to see kind of like where you are. And I took a lot of offense to that, because if I was just there to browse, then I wouldn't have contacted the dealership, wouldn't have given my information, and I wouldn't have set up a time to come and see the vehicle. So that right away kind of threw me off. The way they had it kind of set up at the time, It's like a big parking lot, and usually when they throw events there, you know, where the bike was, they usually have like stunt riders there when they do have on their private property, when they do have like when they do throw events and whatnot. So I simply said, you know, if the deal is right, if the price is right, you know, I'll get it today. I was like, is there any way? Excuse me. I'm like, damn. I'm like, is there any way that I can, you know? Because he said, oh, you know, this is like one of our demos or whatnot. He said, well, this bike is not a demo, but we do have a demo 600. I was like, okay, well, is there any way that I can just, even if I can just ride it here in the parking lot just to get a feel for it? Never ridden one before. Sitting on it is not just gonna do it for me. You know what I mean? He said, well, let me see, because we can't let you ride the rally because it's not the demo bike. You know, it's got 0 miles, whatnot. But we can definitely probably let you do that on the 600 demo bike. I'm like, well, if it's a demo bike, then it should be no issue. I think they bullshitted me for like almost an hour, no lie. I was with my wife. And then they finally came back and said, well, even though it's a demo bike, we can't let you drive off the property with it. And, you know, honestly, we're not gonna allow anybody to ride the bike even on the property. You know, you're gonna have to just buy it. I took offense to that because I have my motorcycle endorsement. I've had it since 2004. I mean, I didn't even get my first ticket since like 2005, only up to like a couple months ago. That was like my first ticket. So I was really, really offended at that point. I was very offended at that point. And it really upset me because at the time I was, just from one job, you know what I mean? I was making plenty of money. My wife makes plenty of money. So, I mean, it's nothing to get approved for anything. Never has been. My credit score is close to 800 and it still is. So I was just like put off, and I just say, you know what? I think I'm good. You know, I'll contact you if I decide to change my mind. I was like, but I'm just gonna go somewhere else. I was that experience there. So my only other option at this point was to go to Kent Motorsports. Like I said, Kent Motorsports is pretty big. I've seen them a lot in town. People kind of recommend them a lot. And that's where I went next. So before I even went there, I simply did the same thing. Contacted them again online. Talked to a nice gentleman, and he said, yeah, come on by. You can even come today. And I said, sure, I'll come today. It was actually the next day, but so I went the next day, met up, everything was fine. Again, I walk in and I said, hey, I'm here to meet, you know, so-and-so. And they're like, okay, who are you? And I gave them my information and whatnot. And it was almost like the same thing, but this time the guy came out and said, I said, hey, yeah, I went. I said, hey, I'm looking for the Riker Rally. Never ridden one before. I've never owned one before, but I'm really interested. Like, I've been looking at things about it. You know, I really want to like kind of see it, sit on it. If you have a demo, I would love to ride one just to see if it's something that I really, really want. Once again, they had a demo unit, a 600. He said, well, you know, the Riker Rally, we do have them in crates. They're not completely built yet, but we do have the 600 that's right out front. He's like, we can set that up. You can you can take it for a test ride. Said, fine. He was like, do you got an ID? Gave him my ID. He came back and said, hey, we're not going to be able to let you ride it, even though it's a demo. But you can sit on it. Can I start it up? See how it sounds? We're not gonna give you the key or anything like that. And I'm just like, is there a reason why you won't let me ride a demo bike? And he just said, well, we'd like to ask like a little more, some questions and whatnot. And I was like, okay, what's your questions? Do you even have enough money to? Oh no, he said the first question he said was, when were you looking to get this? I was like, if the price is right, I can get it today. I'll buy it today. And I think he said, oh, okay, well, let me go talk to my manager real quick and, see if we can actually get you this demo. He came back and he said, the concern for my manager is, do you even have enough money to buy this bike? And I just said, I remember saying, excuse me? He was saying, well, I don't mean any offense. We just, my manager just wants to know like what you do, like what you do for work. Like, do you have the money to buy this? And if, like, what do you do? So we can try to, see where we go from there. And I took I said, I remember telling him, I was like, that's super offensive. I'm actually offended by that comment. And I don't really understand what you mean by that. But if I contacted you about buying something and then I show up, I don't understand what's stopping the sale. You know what I'm saying? What's stopping the transition, like this transaction? Because usually when you're in a dealership and you have people coming there and they're, I'm just browsing. You know what I mean? You're trying to get the sale. But once the sale is coming to you, that's the easiest thing ever, right? Like it should be a shoo-in. And he just said, no, we don't mean to offend. We just have a lot of people that come in and, they're bullshitting and, they want to waste time. And I was like, well, I don't understand how I'm wasting time when I'm literally telling you that I want this. And if the vehicle is the right price, if you can get me an out the door price and it's the right price, I'll buy it today. And he just said, well, again, we're just trying to, make sure that we're not wasting time. So I just said, you know what? I'm actually good. I'm no longer interested. And I left. And that is actually what led me to find Wood Cycle Country. I'm not going to say the guy's name at Woods, but I literally contacted him the same day. I remember it was on a Saturday. I contacted him the same day before I even left Kent Power Sports. And I just said, hey, I saw online you guys had the Riker Rally. Do y'all actually have it? And he said, yeah, we actually got one. I'm going to tell you his name. I think his name is Brian, Mr. Brian. He since then has retired, but I have a funny story to tell about that too. But Brian was like, yeah, we got a Riker Rally here. We got a few of them. We got a used one and we got a brand new one. When could you come by to see it? And I was like, you guys are in New Braunfels. Like, shit, I'm over here at Kent. I just wasted my time at Alamo Cycleplex yesterday and I'm here at Kent and they're full of shit and I'm really upset. And I just want to know if you guys have the damn thing and if I could just come see it. Can I sit on it? Can I possibly ride it? Like something, you know what I mean? He's like, sure, just come through. So I went over there to Wood Cycle, talked to Brian, and I just told him, right out the back, I told him right out the back, if y'all have the model, do y'all have the demo model? And he was straight up right away like, hey, we have some on the floor, but we do not have any demo models. You will not be able to ride one. And, unfortunately, you won't be able to ride one. He's like, but you can sit on it, you can start it up. He's like, we can let you like kind of ride inside the inside, you know what I mean? Like to back it up and all that stuff. He's like, but we can't let you put any miles on it on the road. Understandable, fine, that's cool. He was a really good guy. He showed me the different models. He showed me what was used, what wasn't, blah, blah, blah. And then, he simply asked a couple questions like, hey, if you want to go ahead and, get started, we can get started. I said, yeah. It was like, okay, let's start filling out the paperwork. We did the paperwork. He said, okay, you're working or you're also a veteran, so you get benefits, blah blah blah. This is easy work. It's gonna take like 10 minutes. It literally took 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Hey, you're approved. This is the deals that they're running today with Can-Am, blah blah blah. Cool, let's make it happen. And literally it was so easy. It was effortless. I walked out of there probably an hour later after going over all the fine details, blah blah blah. Now, you know how it is when you kind of go to a dealership. It's not as easy as just walking in 15 minutes unless you're doing stuff like ahead of time, like, you know what I mean? And I walked out the same day with the bike that I wanted with no issues, right? I explained to him the issues that I had with the two other dealerships and he kind of hinted with my sentiment and agreeing that that those other places, sometimes people don't like to service or entertain business from everybody. Try to put it in a nice way by saying basically sometimes they just, even though business will come to them, sometimes they just don't want to deal with certain types of people. That's kind of how he put it, certain types of people. What he was basically trying to tell me was that not everybody wants to work with black people. Not everybody wants to work with niggas. Just put it that way. Just be real about it. It is what it is. And yeah, it is what it is. And it was it was shocking to me because like I said, when somebody walks through your door and as a salesman, and you're working off commissions, the best thing that I could think of is that when somebody walks through your door and the sale is coming to you, that should make your day, because you didn't have to work very hard to make that sale. So, you know, that was my pleasant experience with wood cycle country. Fast forward a couple of years, I was getting rid of the Riker, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm looking for the Gixxer. At first I was looking for a Gixxer 750, and I didn't go to Woods because they didn't have any at the time. So I went back to Alamo Cycleplex, although I didn't want to. I got the same runaround. I told them, hey, I'm trading in my Riker. I did it online again, once again. I'm trading in the Riker, looking for the 750 to say, we got the 750, bring in the Riker. I bring in the Riker. They tell me, hey, we don't necessarily want to do a trade-in on the Riker, even though they told me they would do the trade-in. You know, it's just not something that they want right now, but they do have the bike. But again, at this time when I went, I was no longer working. I retired. Not necessarily retired, but I had stopped working at the job that I was doing, and started running my own business. So at this point, I've been years in running my own business. So I make money from my business, and whatnot, plenty more than, you know, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? My wallet is good. My bank account is good. My credit is impeccable. They made it seem like that wasn't good enough. Even with my wife, who we make plenty, right? They made it seem like that wasn't good enough. I told them straight up that this is crazy. I'm extremely offended. Like, this is crazy. I can show you copies of my credit report. Y'all can run my credit. Y'all ran my credit. There's nothing wrong with my credit. You can verify my income. I have a public business. This is after they asked for multiple months of income verification from those income streams. They still acted like they had a problem. So I said, that's fine. No longer interested. And they said, okay, you know, we're sorry, you know, we couldn't help. I left, and literally I went back to Woods. I didn't even call them. I saw that they had the Gixxer 750. At this point, they had one that came in, and I said, hey, is it there? And they said, yeah, we got one here now. Come check it out. I started dealing with a younger dude, and I was like, hey, where's my guy? And they said, man, he retired. But, you know, he comes in every so often just to, you know, kick it. So I was like, okay. So I was dealing with this other dude, and he was trying to sell me on a Gixxer 750. I liked it, but you know, something told me, just, you know, let me take like a day or two, do some more research on it, just to make sure that this is the bike that I want. And I was like, because technically I really want the Gixxer 1000, but, you know, coming off of a Harley, coming off of a trike, you know, a Can-Am Riker, I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready for a Gixxer 1000, or, you know, I don't know yet. He tried to really sell me, even going to lengths of kind of offending me at points. And I made it known. That to his manager that, hey, you know, I bought my Can-Am Riker here, and I had a pleasant experience. But this guy, he's acting as if I don't have money to buy what I want here. And I said that, you know, it's really offensive because I had such a good experience here. You know, I just don't feel right about it. And he said, you know, hey, I take ownership. I'm sorry that, you know, I'm sorry about that. And I was just like, you know what, it's fine. You know, I will just come back another time. I'm good. So at this point, I was just like, I'm done with the Gixxer 750. I don't want it. Good. I'm just going to go back to Houston. I'm going to go to Houston, and I'll find a damn bike, because in Houston, it's a way bigger city. They got way more competition. I can find the bike there. The following weekend, I had been looking for the Gixxer, the 1000, a deal on a used one, instead of a brand new one that, you know, very low miles. Well, one popped up on Wood Cycle Country, and I was just like, hell yes. But I was still salty because this guy that I just dealt with pissed me off, right? I saw it pop up. It was a Friday night. Was it a Friday night? Excuse me. It was on a Saturday. I saw it pop up at night. Saw it pop up. And I was just like, this is the one. It was this bike. I saw it pop up. It was a Saturday night. The dealership was almost closed. I sent in a little request just to say, hey, do you guys have this still? You know how you fill out the shit on the line, right? I didn't get a response back because they were closing. So what did I do? I said, oh shit, I still have my guy's phone number, Brian. His name is Brian. I said, I still got his phone number from the last deal. So I looked through my phone and I was like, hey Brian, I just saw the GSXR 1000 pop up online. It said that y'all had it. It's used. This is what it is. The little number, whatnot, so you can find it. I was like, can you check and verify that y'all actually have it when you go in on Tuesday? And he hit me back up that night. Literally, he hit me back up not even long after, and he was like, hey, I'm so sorry, but I don't work there anymore. Like, I retired from there, but I was up there today, and I do believe that I saw it coming in on the inventory. He's like, what I can do is I can try to figure out, try to figure out some details about it. And I was like, damn, that sucks. I was like, I'm gonna be upfront with you. I was dealing with a guy up there, and I gave him his name, and I was like, he treated me like I was a freaking peasant, and I didn't appreciate that, because you showed me so much love, and we got the deal done with you. You sold me the vehicle, the Can-Am Ryker, with like in 10-15 minutes. And I was like, I really don't want to deal with him or not really anybody else, because I haven't dealt with anybody else there. And he was like, let me find out what's going on. They're closed on Monday, obviously. He was like, but I'll get some numbers for you and I'll take care of you. I said, fine. I said, let me know what the out the door price is, what you can do for me. Obviously, I'm trading in the Ryker or whatnot, all this stuff. He's like, yeah, I got you. Monday evening, he called me and was like, hey, I got the numbers. This is the numbers. You want to come in and get it done? He was like, before you come in, we can go through some of this pre-approval, all this bullshit beforehand. So when you come in, literally all we're going to be doing is doing the final paperwork, blah, blah, blah. I said, cool. I'm getting this damn thing sight unseen, because I trust the dude. No lie. Tuesday morning, I go in, smooth as hell. I see the bike, I sit on the bike. I'm like, this is it. The deal was done within an hour. Walked out, even paid a deposit. This guy came out of retirement just to sell me the damn bike that I wanted. And all it took was a text message, right? I go up there and I ring the bell, and I see the dude that tried to F me over previously. And I'm just like, yeah, you should feel like because you try to sell me super hard on a bike that you knew I wasn't, 100% convinced on buying. And now I'm walking out with a GSXR 1000, an upsell that you could have had, And I just said all that to say this, man, that, sometimes when you go to these dealerships, even if you know what you want, even if you know what your net worth is and what you can afford, sometimes as a black man, you're just going to have to deal with people who hold a stereotype and are going to look at you a certain way and treat you a certain way based on their prejudice. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. But this is the reason why I go to Wood Cycle Country. And I just deal with certain people. Hopefully that guy has gotten better, but I would have to say that currently that's probably the only dealership that I kind of trust right now in the area where I would just buy my motorcycles. Like I said, I don't bullshit when I go to a dealer to find anything that I want. I don't want to do the ring around the rosy. I don't want to do any of the extra stuff. I simply ask for the out the door price with the relevant discounts and whatnot, and let's get the damn deal done. You know what I mean? And like I said, sometimes when you go in there, even with that attitude and you're ready to rock and roll and you got money in your pocket, some people will still just want to treat you a certain type of way. So yeah, man, I definitely feel Booster Rails on that, man. But he didn't necessarily come out and say it, but I felt the sentiment because I've experienced it multiple times. And it sucks, man. It sucks when somebody looks at you, even when you're being serious, and they're just they don't want the sale. They don't want your business. They don't mind other people's business. They just don't want your business. It sucks. It sucks. So I don't know if you guys have experienced anything like that. I would definitely be interested to hear your perspective and to hear your story. Peace.